Hey guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I quickly create a marbled fondant tier, and then I add some shiny accents to it at the end. Okay, so I start off with whatever fondant I'm going to use. This fondant I'm actually using for like the second time. I'm not going to mention what it is at the moment. I don't love it so much, but I will tell you a fondant that I do love. I do love Fantasia fondant for covering a traditional round tier, and I do love Karma Massa fondant. That's actually my favorite. So beyond that, I'll just leave you to your own fondant. But what I'm showing you here is I've created two extra colors to go on my white. This first one that I'm showing you and the second one are both the same. I've mixed some black into these strips of fondant, but you notice I haven't made a solid black color. I've just kind of mixed it in part way so that it's a little marbled to begin with. I put two strips on my big white piece of fondant, one on the front and one on the back, and then I have this light gray fondant, which is a solid color. I just mixed a tiniest bit of black into it and got it light gray. So I have these two different colors that I have attached to my white piece like so. You want to really knead out that white chunk of fondant before you add these strips to the fondant, because you can't knead your fondant the traditional way. You have to fold it over. At least I like to fold it over. You can fold it lengthwise. You could fold it like a hot dog, but folding is kind of the key for me, because we don't want to mix it so much that the color is just mixed in totally. We want these swirls, and that's how I get these swirls, by folding it over, when instead of the traditional kneading of just, how you would normally knead. Just fold, 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 fold. Go back and watch that again if you need to see how I folded it. And then I, of course, roll it out like normal, just kind of starting in the center and rolling out towards the edges. And then I just look at both sides of the fondant and pick which one I like best and cover my cake in the traditional way with it. Now, you're going to see this fondant I'm using. So you always want to start at the top when you're covering your cake, and get that top on nice and stuck on there so that it doesn't rip and pull down as you attach the rest of the fondant down. But this fondant I'm using is ripping. You can actually see at the top edge there, it's starting to rip. Not all fondants are created equal. They're really, really not. And when I first started, I did not realize that. When I switched to Karma or Fantasia fondant, and I am not being paid to say either one of those things, they just happen to be my two very favorite fondants, and I never have trouble with them with elephant skin or with ripping and tearing at the edges, and nothing like that. So I really do recommend those two fondants. Karma is very expensive. Fantasia is not as expensive as Karma. So those are my number 1 and 2. But then you just cover your cake in the traditional method. Everybody does it their own way, but I smooth down side to side instead of up and down, and so on. There are other videos you can watch to see that done. I just want to show you what I added to this particular tier to help cover some of the issues I had with this fondant that I cannot stand. And and also I was planning on doing this anyway because I wanted to add a little sparkle to this cake. So I've just got regular white clear sanding sugar. I'm using a spray bottle filled with a high proof alcohol. I have Everclear in mine. I just spray it onto the fondant, and then I just take a handful of the sanding sugar and stick it on to where I sprayed, and that just gives me little sections. I do that in random little sections. I do it along the top edge in random areas, and then I use my fondant smoother to kind of press it in to the fondant a little bit gently. I love the marbling look alone, but I also love to add just a little extra texture, just a little extra bling to it. So this was one way which I decided to do that. And, sanding sugar has got the high sparkle factor to it, so it really looks great in those wedding lights. Okay. Then I'm using my edible art paint in light silver here, and I am using Roxy Enrich edible hybrid sparkle dust, which is what I just showed you that got all over my arm, because when I opened up this particular package, it just went everywhere, which really made my heart hurt because I hate to waste glitter. But anyway, that is edible glitter. It's a great stuff. Love it. And, you know, edible is always a beautiful thing because not all glitter made for cakes is edible. So what I do is I just paint on the edible art light silver metallic paint. I'm finding a dark line and I'm following it. I'm not covering it completely. I'm kind of painting on next to it, following the line. And then before the paint dries, I'm just spraying the sparkle dust on top of the paint. You don't have to do that. It is a very subtle bling. But, you know, again, under those wedding lights, it just adds a little extra sparkle and makes everybody happy. Everyone, I promise. Okay. Don't mind my kids in the background playing Legos on the floor. Okay, so that is all there is to it, really. It's super easy. You can add more colors into your marbling. The trick is to just obviously not knead it all together so that it becomes one color. Just knead it a little bit and roll it out. And if you add it in those little strips like I showed you in the beginning, that will help keep that marble look intact for you. Okay, I also have on cake heads, if you come over and join our cake heads family, I show you how to make the fondant birch tree effect, and also we have how to make the sugar poppies up there by Jacqueline Butler, and we also have how to make that heart wreath. I show that as well. So come join the cake heads family. We'd be honored to have you. We have lots of fun over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.